In stream, we made the prediction that at the end of this year, we will receive Unreal Engine 5 for Satisfactory prior to 1.0 releasing. And though we were slightly off with when the upgrade would be released, I'm happy with the news that Satisfactory will be moving to Unreal Engine 5.1.1 for Update 8. And I'm now going to break down Coffee Stain's recent video and give you the info you need to know prior to it hitting experimental. Of course, do check out Coffee Stain's video if you do have time, as it will be more in depth. I'll also put a link in the description below to that. But with it being over 40 minutes long, I aim to create a brief summary here of that video. And for ease, I will also chapter this video so that you can skip ahead where necessary. And of course, if you do enjoy the video, please do hit the thumbs up and why not subscribe for more Update 8 news. And whilst we do this, I'll also just be playing the game, because why not? So let's jump into it. So what's coming with Unreal Engine 5? Now, Unreal Engine has three big features: Lumen, Nanite, and VSM virtual shadow maps. Lumen is a way of calculating global illumination and reflections in game. We also have Nanite, which is a new way of rendering a mesh, and more specifically, just rendering what is seen in the viewer port, potentially offering some really good gains to performance if utilized effectively. And then we also have the virtual shadow maps, which basically allow higher res shadows. Of these three, Satisfactory will not be using VSM as it is still in beta development. However, it may come to Satisfactory at a later date. Nanite will also be used for the rocks and cliffs in Satisfactory, and they're also going to try and use it on factory elements, but this may not come with Update 8 or at all. It's not guaranteed. Then we have Lumen. Now, Lumen will also be used, however, it won't be supported officially. This will be something that you can opt into in the settings, so do look for GI or global illumination in the settings section to add it when Update 8 arrives. Now, the reason for this is that the team won't have time to fully develop Lumen for the world's lighting to a level that they're comfortable with, along with the lighting of the whole world without Lumen, as it will take up too much of the team's time to do both, which I think is fair enough. But you're probably wondering what other features are coming. Firstly, there's the world partition system. Now, currently Satisfactory uses a tile system where the world is split into 42 large tiles. When you get close to an edge of a tile, the game has to load in the next tile, which can cause lags in performance when loading in. This also means that the game renders more than is necessary, so it's pretty inefficient. Now, if world partition is enabled well, it should greatly optimize the use of resources. This is because the tiles can now be broken into smaller chunks and rendered when necessary, rather than the whole tile all at once. Before we move on, if you're enjoying the music, do check out my Spotify playlist. It's music that we've produced ourselves, and I'm absolutely loving the new album. And the music is copyright free if you're a content creator, so you can use it should you wish. The link is in the description below. Satisfactory will also be using TSR. TSR is temporal super resolution, which makes lower resolutions look much more crisp at higher resolutions. This upscaling algorithm gives major performance gains because you're rendering less pixels at a smaller resolution whilst enjoying the higher quality image. It's a bit like NVIDIA's DLSS or AMD's Fidelity FX. You'll also be able to choose what percentage of downscaling you want for your system, but if you have a good GPU, it's recommended to use it as it will reduce the CPU usage, freeing it for other uses in Satisfactory. There's also FXAA, which is a cheaper anti-aliasing for those who have lower spec machines. Another thing that's going to change is vehicle physics. They're going to have a big update as they've moved to the new chaos physics system. With it, you can expect vehicles to behave differently, and as for vehicle automation, it shouldn't be too different, though you may notice that they behave differently on some pre-existing paths, so these may need to be re-recorded. And with the new vehicle physics, vehicles will not bounce on foundations anymore, though there is still some jank when they're driving on the foundations, but they are looking to improve this for Update 8. Top speeds have also changed for vehicles. Trucks now feel heavier, the Explorer is faster but has a tendency to oversteer, and the Tractor is both a bit more stable and faster. Whereas the factory cart has a lower center of mass, so it's less prone to flipping. However, it still performs terribly on everything but foundations, but this is a design choice from Coffee Stains. Handbraking has also been improved by actually being simulated now, but they have removed air control. You'll also notice different sounds per wheel, reflecting what the wheels are currently spinning on, and vehicle engine sounds have also been improved. It's nice to see that the vehicles are getting a bit more love, as they've always felt a bit janky to me. The enhanced input system is also coming to the game, which should fix some bugs, such as when you continue running when you have the menu out, or boosting when you open the menu with the jetpack. With Unreal Engine 5, we'll also have meta sounds features available, but the team aren't going to be using that as they're very happy with Wise, which is the system they're currently using. The next question is, with all of these new features, will the game run better with Unreal Engine 5? And Jace does go into this, and he says that it really depends on your definition. If you turn on all the new features, the game may perform at the same FPS, but still look better. So you will certainly gain better quality. So really, this comes down to individual tweaking and personal preference and balancing it out. But they do believe that Nanite will reduce CPU usage as it partially uses the GPU, and the new anti-aliasing will also help with lower spec PCs. However, currently, the game runs mostly the same, and in some cases worse off than prior to Unreal Engine 5.1.1. But it's important to note that this is prior to the team really playing around with all the new features. So we can expect optimization and improvement over following updates, whether that's for Update 8 or even in full release. With it being an update, there is the question with whether Unreal Engine 5 will be stable upon release, and the hope is that yes, it will, but there is a chance that this won't be the case in certain situations, such as vehicles which have just been reworked. And as always, it's highly recommended that you do back up your saves prior to moving into experimental, as it is experimental. Also, minimum spec requirements will be changed as the team do not want to support the old GPU, which now is not being supported, I should say, by Nvidia anymore. Also, with Unreal Engine 5 requiring higher read speeds for Nanite, you may well have to use an SSD. So with that said, the new minimum spec list is as follows. You'll want a GTX 1650 or higher GPU, a 4-core CPU, and 8 gigabytes of RAM, and as mentioned, possibly an SSD. When it comes to DirectX 11, will it be supported? Well, yes, it will be, but DirectX 11 does not support Nanite. So if you can, do use DX12 or Vulkan and make sure that your drivers are updated. However, there is one big issue here. If you mess with your graphics renderer and your computer cannot run the game, it will crash. And with the saved settings, you will not be able to open up the game again to change to different settings. If this is the case, you will need to change either the game user settings in the .ini file, but if you do that, that will remove all previous settings, or what you can do is open the game with launch options, which won't remove all previous settings, but can be more difficult to do. If you'd like me to cover that in a video, do let me know in the comments below. What's always brought up is the build limit in this game. If you hit the build limit, the game will crash, and this build limit is hard set by the engine itself. And though this won't change for Unreal Engine 5, the team have greatly improved how objects are rendered in. For example, a foundation normally counts as 3 objects, but in Update 7, this was reduced to being a single object, which is a huge net gain towards the build limit, but they do have some ideas as to how they can continue to optimize objects in-game. As with all updates, again, you can expect with update 8 that all mods will break. This happens with every update and comes down to the awesome modding community to fix their mods. So do expect some downtime on them. Another thing close to our hearts is dedicated servers. They've been saying that they're going to improve dedicated servers, but it is very likely that dedicated servers will be less stable than before, as this is a new engine. But they do plan on focusing on improving dedicated servers and features for them in the long run. But this does lend the question if dedicated servers are going to be worse off, if there's not much chance for positive gain, at least initially in performance. Why are we upgrading? Well, the team decided to upgrade both for the gains of improvement in the long run, but they'd also rather do it now rather than later. And this has taken them about 4 to 5 months to develop, and they feel that it will be really beneficial in the long term. With the exception of Snut, who we all know put a lot of work into a teaser trailer, which has caused him more than a few headaches. Now, I am very much looking forward to seeing this teaser trailer, but with the issues coming down to recording in-game and shadows for Snut, that does concern myself and no doubt other content creators. Hopefully this isn't something that will affect us when Update 8 comes, because I'd love to show you how great Unreal Engine 5 is, along with some comparisons from before and after the update. But guys, let's leave it there. I don't want to keep it too long. Again, hit the thumbs up if you did like the synopsis, and special thanks does go to all of our amazing supporters, most notably our Solarclipse patrons, James Irwin, Fireless, and Trebor, as well as our Lunas, the Calamity, Ben, Star, Shoku the Emanolf, and That Dude AW, as well as our Blood Moon of the day, which today is Chick Norris. Until next time, as always, ciao for now.